The rest of the story. Americans, a town is starving. A town is starving. And everybody, it seems, wants to help. The town is Las Claritas, a poor community carved out of the jungle in southeastern Venezuela. A settlement of some 15,000 who were originally members of 3 local Indian tribes. For many years now, their desperation has been palpable. A mere 5% employed, few services, rampant crime, the narrow streets between tin-roofed hovels teem with drunks and youth who live to steal, and everywhere is hunger. Help is on the way, they say. For in September 2002, a team from Canada purportedly had raised millions for humanitarian aid and arrived to announce the community's reclamation. Over this year and the next, an organization spokesman proclaimed, "We propose to create 100 new jobs." Well, the assembled townspeople were incredulous. More than 14,000 people were out of work. A voice from the crowd admonished, "How would 100 jobs help?" But that was only the beginning, the spokesperson replied. 10 years, 20 years from now, the Canadians would still be there building schools and hospitals and creating wealth, pumping life into the little town everybody else seemed to have forgotten. But the throng grew more restless still. For 11 years, somebody shouted. Outsiders have come, one after another, promising to assist us, and all eventually abandoned us. And then in unison came the cries, 11 years of lies. Venezuelan National Guard rifles bristled, prepared to quell what appeared to be an erupting riot. Indeed, even as townsfolk angrily bit the hand allegedly trying to feed them, another group, Canadians as well, these from Vancouver, were plotting to subvert the first group's right to be there. The Vancouver team protested that they had received permission from yet another group to rescue Las Claritas. But Venezuela's left-wing presidente, claiming such was the state's responsibility, had robbed them of the privilege. And this latest wrangling over who gets to help that impoverished Indian settlement in the middle of nowhere will not be the last. For you see, more than a decade ago, somebody bothered to research that region and, dumbstruck, discovered the true and abiding value of that native South American culture, based on a geological peculiarity directly beneath the town. A geological peculiarity directly beneath the town of Las Claritas. Oh, yes, I do mean to say that the desperate people that everybody wants to help are living by sheerest coincidence on top of one of the most promising, unexploited deposits of gold anywhere in the world. Perhaps 12 million ounces or more when mined and refined. But the mining companies, climbing over one another for a crack at all that gold, have put the salvation of Las Claritas on hold indefinitely. And so in the end, it is very possible that history will record that in the jungle of southeastern Venezuela was once a town built on buried treasure whose people starved. If that's so, at least you will know the rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story. The search for gold in South America has attracted people for centuries. In 1594, Sir Walter Raleigh heard about a city of gold, or a great golden city, at the headwaters of the Caroni River. This city of gold was the origin of the El Dorado legend. In the following year, with the backing of Great Britain's Queen Elizabeth I, Raleigh led an expedition to find this golden city. As Mr. Harvey explained, Venezuela is rich in gold deposits, but there's no evidence that Sir Walter Raleigh found any gold or gold mines on the voyage. In 1603, following the death of Queen Elizabeth I, Sir Walter Raleigh was arrested for treason against Elizabeth's successor, James I. The penalty for treason was death. At trial, the tribunal refused to allow Raleigh's accuser to testify or be cross-examined. Raleigh was ultimately convicted, but King James spared his life, sent him to prison where he was to remain for the rest of his life. While imprisoned in the Tower of London, Raleigh began writing the history of the world. He remained in the Tower until 1616, when he finally convinced King James to allow him to search again for the city of gold. In 1617, King James pardoned Raleigh and granted him permission for the second expedition. there was just one caveat to Raleigh's pardon, which was that he was to avoid any hostilities, any confrontation with the Spanish colonies or Spanish shipping in the area. King James wanted the gold in his coffers. During their search, though, a detachment of Raleigh's men, including his son, also named Walter, attacked a Spanish outpost. In the attack, Raleigh's son was shot and killed. Raleigh returned to England without the gold and without his son. Raleigh was ultimately responsible for every man under him on the expedition, and therefore he had broken the condition of his pardon. On October 29, 1618, Raleigh was taken to the old palace yard at the Palace of Westminster to be beheaded. As he kneeled at the chopping block, his executioner standing nearby with axe in hand, Raleigh said, "I would not have my enemies think I quaked from fear." He laid his head on the chopping block. The executioner hesitated. He yelled to the executioner, "What dost thou fear? Strike, man, strike!" And he struck. For over 500 years, rumors have persisted that Sir Walter Raleigh made it at least to Angel Falls, Venezuela, which is the tallest unerupted waterfall in the world, and it's also less than 80 miles from Las Claritas. Could it have been possible that Sir Walter Raleigh made it to what is now Las Claritas, but failed to realize what was just beneath his feet? As Mr. Harvey explained, Las Claritas sits atop what is believed to be the richest gold deposit in Latin America. At its height, the population of the town grew to about 10,000 people. People came from as far away as Colombia, Brazil, and the Dominican Republic. They built houses out of plastic sheets and wooden poles. Each day, they dug out rocks, put them in sacks, and trudged to a mill where gold was separated from dirt. During the boom, miners earned as much as $5,000 a month when the average Venezuelan worker made, about $200 a month. Environmentalists and ecologists argue that the miners are destroying the environment with mercury and high-pressure water hoses, which they use to remove trees, rocks, and other debris in the pursuit of gold. Government officials argue that collecting taxes from the miners and even controlling them is impossible. The region has become rife with drugs, violence, and prostitution. Many who got wealthy on the gold frittered it away on alcohol, prostitutes, and wild parties in the remote jungle village where goods were expensive. No one, it seemed, saved anything for a rainy day. An article published in 2020 by the Human Rights Watch claims that armed groups called syndicates now control the gold mines. The syndicates have no governmental interference, the article claims, and the government has willingly turned over the mines to the armed groups in exchange for bribes. The local population, men, women, and children as young as 10 years old, are forced to work the mines in what the article claimed abusive working conditions. Workers accused of theft without any sort of trial have limbs amputated, their hands shot, or are executed with a chainsaw, axe, or machete in front of the other workers as a way to prevent future theft. The gold does not stay in their own economy but is smuggled out of the country. One miner told Human Rights Watch, "Everyone knows the rules. If you steal or mix gold with another product, the Pram, the syndicate leader, will beat or kill you." Another miner said, "They, the syndicate, are the government there. If you steal, they disappear you." Mr. Harvey said that history books would one day record that there was once a town built on buried treasure whose people starved. Well, since Mr. Harvey's broadcast, it would seem that the lives of the people at Las Claritas and the surrounding area have only gotten worse. I've always heard that money is the root of all evil. How can we value money, or gold in this case, more than human life? I'm Brad Dison. thanks for watching. And as Paul Harvey would say, good day.